Welcome in, everybody. Steve's supposed to be doing the intro, but he's not paying attention. So,
Oh shit, he got me. He did. I got hold a minute, guys. I got hold a minute, and I'm like, all right, well, he'll let me know. Apparently, he did not let me know. My fault.
you're supposed to
Anyhow,
be paying
what's up,
attention.
everybody? I hope you all had a great week. We are back in again. Like we said last week, we're trying some different stuff, so just bear with us. Let us know what your thoughts are. With that, I mean, my week was decent. Decent week for you, man.
Fuck no, it's freezing.
All right. I mean, last week was cold as shit. It was fucking cold last week. But
I just felt like, Family Guy when they transfer to Ollie the Weatherman, and he's like, "It's fucking raining." I felt like that.
It is, dude. Today was our warmest day. I mean, I worked Saturday. Saturday was nuts. So, yeah.
It's starting to warm up a little bit this week, where we've finally broken into the 20s. Last week was like negative all week. It fucking sucked. Ronnie didn't have to work because of the extreme cold for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Damn.
So because some of the kids walked to school or whatever, so she didn't have to go in, and she didn't start her car for like 3 days. So the remote start didn't work, and I was like, "Oh, this thing might be fucking dead."
Yeah.
I go out there to start it, and it was like, roof, 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 and then it fired off, and I'm like, "Okay, lucky."
Yeah, I hear that all of our equipment started up today, so that was a plus. That was a big plus. But anyway, enough of us. When it comes to the podcast here, guys, we're obviously we have it up on YouTube. We have it up on Instagram. If you haven't checked out the YouTube, it is No Safe Space dash FAFO. We're gonna change that. Other than that, this week we got something kind of, it's another thing John and I kind of like to learn about, know a lot about, and that's Western Legends of the Old West. So with that, John's going to take over here because he has the first legend, and I'm following in behind with the second. So with that, you ready to rumble?
He thinks that his legend is better than mine. I can tell you that
No,
right
I don't.
now.
No, I don't.
I can see it in his face. It's probably something stupid like one of the freaking red tie guys. Fucking
It is not one of the fucking Cochise Cowboys.
what was that? Who was that guy's name when in the movie where they were arguing in the saloon, and he's like, "Oh, Ringo." It's probably Johnny Ringo. Is it Johnny Ringo?
It is Johnny Ringo.
You fucking prick. That's all right. My guy killed your guy.
But I'll get to that. We'll go through my gut.
I do know that they say they do not know whether it was Wyatt or Holliday or a third party that took him out, but I'm just saying he got shot in the fucking face.
Oh, there's no doubt. Like I'll tell mine. Just you go ahead.
So we're gonna do the GOAT, which is John Henry Holliday, which most people don't know his full name, but his name is, everybody knows, Doc Holliday. He's actually born in Georgia in 1851. Hey, his birthday is August 14th. Mine's August 12th. Look at that. It was meant to be. Sorry, I had to sip some water. He was born in Pike County, which is now part of the Spalding County. I don't know if you guys want to know his parents' names. It was Alice and Henry. I wrote it down. His dad was in the Civil War from 61 to 65. He was a major in the Georgia infantry. He's also a well-known physician in Crawford County, which was wild because back then they all died of like consumption. They did, or getting shot. His uncle was a doctor too, and that's kind of what led Doc to go into being a dentist. A lot of people don't know he was actually like a really well-known practicing dentist. He was doing fucking absolute work, and that was before they had like anesthesia and all that. So now he's just ripping teeth out. But because dentists back in the day were still too expensive, he was making enough money to feed his like excessive gambling addiction. So, and the gambling addiction led to him drinking a lot. And then just so you know, what killed him was consumption. He died in Colorado. His headstone is in Colorado if anybody's interested in seeing it. But his dad was like a big businessman in Valdosta, and that's where they ended up moving to. And then his mom died of tuberculosis, and him and his dad didn't really see eye to eye because his dad was kind of a prick. But we go on. He left Georgia when he was 19, went to Pennsylvania, of all shitholes, because they had one of the biggest dental surgery programs in the country at the time. They did. And it's actually, oddly enough, it's still considered one of the top dental programs. Yeah, it's crazy, right? So he graduated in 72, went back to Atlanta. He got not with his uncle because his uncle ends up dying of tuberculosis too. His uncle's buddy, they got into, he worked for him for a little while. Once he got established, he actually opened his own dental facility, which was problematic because he was using some of the drugs to treat what he thought was sickness that he had too, not to mention that he had consumption, which was like tuberculosis back then. They didn't know what to fucking call it. He did that for a while until about 73 when he went to Dallas. Then he started another dental office in Dallas that was actually doing pretty good. Everybody really liked him. Oddly enough, he was at kind of the top of his class in the dental school, so he was well known in Dallas as being like a good place to go, and he worked with people on like their being able to pay. I'm not saying they could give him like a pig or anything, but he helped him out. He was in the service. He got drafted. Let's skip to the good stuff. I know me and Steve are doing time limits. In 79, he moved to Las Vegas, and New Mexico opened up a saloon. That's where his first documented killing of somebody outside of the service is. He killed a man and wounded the bartender. Not really sure why. I'm pretty sure it was a poker game. They didn't really tell you. And then he became friends. Well, he had met Wyatt Earp in Dallas. We'll go with that. And then they became friends. And he followed him into Tombstone, which is where all the good shit happened. That's where he ran into Steve's punk ass Johnny Ringo. And the rest of those, the guys that he was actually arguing with were like Ike Clayton and the Cattle Rustlers. And if you watched the movie, they had a different name. They went off their little red sashes, but they had
the Cochise Cowboys.
Yeah, but they go by, for some reason, there's about 12 different names for them. Because before they ran it all, there was a bunch of different names for them, and then they all got together and I guess
Curly Bill Broses.
Yeah, they just decided like we're gonna start not Holliday, but his, the other guys. They started robbing stagecoaches, and then Wyatt Earp became sheriff or marshal in Tombstone, sheriff, and it's kind of where the movie kicks in. The way you were shaking your head, my guy was the goat. Yours got shot in the face.
I'm not saying he wasn't a goat.
In the forest. Anyway.
You fuck.
So, actually, believe it or not, the movie, the original one, follows a lot of the actual story. Did you know that?
There's a remake?
There's about 5 of them. You don't? Okay.
I only know the one with Val Kilmer. That's the only one I watch.
So there's that one, and then there's 2 more that tell the story a little bit differently, and then there's a whole one that's like just from Doc Holliday's perspective. It was wild.
Did not know that.
So once they all got there to Tombstone, he met up with Wyatt and his brothers, Virgil and Morgan. They were all into the law stuff, but Doc was not, actually. He was still gambling quite heavily, drinking quite a lot, and sleeping with this one really mean Russian girl. She was.
You ain't got her name?
I know her name. I just don't know how to pronounce it because the movie doesn't give her real name. So anyway, I don't remember that bitch's name. Somebody in the comments, if you can pronounce it, go for it. But basically, once he started helping out Wyatt Earp, he got to legally start killing people. Now, there are some rumors that as he made his way from Atlanta to Dallas to Tombstone, that he killed a few more people on the way, because when he got to Tombstone, he was already a world-renowned gunslinger, supposedly. And I don't think you can get that title out of killing one guy and wounding a bartender. So anyway, he goes there. Virgil and Morgan get into a lot of trouble. One of them dies. The other one gets on a train, leaves Tombstone. Then you go back to the reason everybody knows Doc Holliday is because of the OK Corral shootout. There is nothing that suggests what happened in the movie for the OK Corral is correct. Nobody knows if he really had the fucking scatter gun or anything, but they do credit him with killing 2 of the 5 guys that were there. So that's kind of cool. It is.
Definitely.
So by that time, it was 1887, and his tuberculosis was in final stages. He was not doing good. And this is supposedly when he shot that dirty Ringo in the face. Nobody knows if that's true or not. Again, nobody knows who actually killed Ringo. I'd like to think it was Holliday, but I wasn't there. I did read a book one time where the guy said that dead Western legends come to him in his dream and tell him that they need a book that tells the true story. I've read the book. I don't know if I believe it. Just going to say that. So, and after the whole Ringo situation where he shot that rat bastard in the forehead and handed him a flower and was like, die, bitch. I don't know if those were actually his words. It was back in the day. It was probably like something stupid because he spoke a lot of Latin, which a lot of people actually know if you've seen the movies or read in the books or looked up his actual life. If you've ever been actually interested in him, he spoke a few languages. Again, he was like top of his class in Pennsylvania, which I can't imagine was too hard. He probably had like a 1.9 GPA, and that just beat everybody else in the state. That's a joke. Yeah. He had a really, he was really smart. They said he was really smart. I didn't know the guy.
2 + 2 is 7.
It's that public school.
Yeah. Anyway.
So ultimately, he dies November 8th, 1887, at the age of 36 of tuberculosis in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Now, you can go visit his grave in Colorado, and I think you should because it's awesome. He led a pretty interesting life. Unfortunately, there is a lot more to him than the gunfight at the OK Corral. It's usually the centerpiece of most of the films, and usually Holliday is often on equal footing with Earp as a protagonist, but occasionally Holliday comes out as the main character. And I do believe if you're just following Holliday, that he should be the main character, because starting from when he was born, seeing his mother die, him falling out with his father, moving from Savannah to Valdosta to Dallas, Pennsylvania, then to Tombstone, and he was everywhere else. He focused a lot on gambling, and that's kind of where he went. Once he'd get police after him in one town for either shooting somebody or stabbing somebody in a saloon battle, he would have to move. Can't really do too much gambling from the gallows. But if you really want to look into him, John Myers wrote a book about Doc Holliday. Gary Roberts wrote a book about him. Karen Holliday Tanner. I'm not sure. She wrote a book about him, but it was more of like a extended story. It was in a newspaper in Oklahoma, and there wasn't too much more that
All right.
there's a lot
That
more.
is.
I'm not done yet. You shut up. Anyway, there's a lot more to him, but if you guys are
I'll
interested,
go fuck myself then.
I could pretty much tell you his steps from Savannah, Valdosta, Pennsylvania, Dallas to Tombstone, and then ultimately when he died in Colorado. It's pretty his timeline's pretty detailed, but we're trying to keep this at about 12 to 15 minutes apiece because now we got to hear about Steve's loser. Also, in the end of this, I want everybody to say whether you liked Ringo better or Holliday in the comments.
And you cannot base it off of the movie just because you like Val Kilmer.
No,
that's not a valid option. All right. So as John said, he had the GOAT, Mr. Doc Holliday. I have his as the movie would make it his nemesis, Johnny Ringo. Johnny was born John Peters Ringo, May 3rd, 1850. He was born in Greens Fork, Indiana. His parents, Martin and Mary Ringo, obviously couldn't really make ends meet happen, being at the time, being where they were. So they decided when newfound wealth was there, hop on a wagon train, head out west. So that's what they did. They hopped on a wagon train. They headed out west to California. On the way out to California, Martin had an accident and ended up shooting himself on the wagon train, and he died. Now it's not stated whether or not. A couple of accounts I saw said it was an accident. Other ones I saw, not an accident. So who's to say? I mean, Johnny was the oldest of 5 kids, and they ranged 2 to 14. So it was one of those things where, who's to say? I mean, who's to say? Either way, obviously, witnessing your father shoot himself at a young age, 14, it's going to be some traumatizing shit, without a question. It's also said that at 14, Johnny was a crack shot with a pistol and a rifle. Obviously, a lot of practice. You see your father do that. You want to make sure you're pretty damn good with the shot. So he's a crack shot with a pistol and a rifle. And then not much is known about him whenever they actually arrived in California. He doesn't really pop up again until 1875. And at that age, he's 25. He popped up in Texas and got charged with shooting a man. He got out of it. Didn't really say how he got out of it, but he did get out of it. However, as he is the villain in this story here, he kept causing trouble, finding more trouble in the Texas, Arizona area. A lot of people said he was a hard-drinking, moody loner who liked to quote Shakespeare. So obviously, if you've seen the movie, you know him and Doc Holliday have their tete-a-tete with the Latin. So he was educated. It's not stated how he was educated or what, but he was educated. Legend has it in 1879, he killed a man for not drinking with him in Tombstone, and that's kind of where he was set at for the legend in Tombstone. Hollywood, obviously, that was Hollywood. But they were both known as fast gunslingers. Holliday obviously is the more better known because, well, he lived till die of his tuberculosis, aka consumption. And Ringo caught one in the dome piece. So obviously Holliday was the better slinger. And it is in the spring of 1882, Ringo was in deep drink and he was talking of impending death. So it was kind of like maybe he felt it coming. Either way, July 14th, his body was found slumped against an oak tree in Turkey Creek Canyon. And that's not too far from where Tombstone is. With a single gunshot wound to the head. So, I mean, Hollywood got that one right. There was a There was somebody that was out in the canyon that day that said they heard a single shot. Now, obviously, if you watch the movie, Ringo did shoot, but he shot several times, if I remember correctly. But there's only a single shot heard. So who's to say whether or not he did it to himself or somebody else did it? Wyatt Earp, good old Wyatt, he does claim to have done the deed, but it's one of those things the world will never know unless somebody shows up in someone's dreams at night and wants a book written about them. We will never know what happened that day in Turkey Creek to Johnny Ringo, other than the fact he got shot in the head. So I will know. The official verdict on it is that he committed suicide. So, I mean, unless I see I couldn't find pictures of the wound or anything like that. Obviously, back in that time, they really didn't have camera phones and, crime scene evidence. So it was one of those things. But other than that, I mean, there's not too much out there about Johnny Ringo. But John told me he wanted to do Doc Holliday. So I was like, all right, we can do this. And I ran with Johnny Ringo. But, I mean, all in all, he was like the typical Midwest Western criminal outlaw type guy. There really wasn't anything really said about him running with the Cowboys, anything like that. I mean, even in the movie, I think he's only seen with them other than when they're in Tombstone out on I think it was called Wyatt Earp's Vendetta Run or Vendetta Ride, whatever. On that, you only see him once or twice, I think. But so that's all obviously purely Hollywood. Yeah, other than that, just Johnny Ringo. I think I want to check out. I want to check out their guns. That's something that always interested me was the guns they used. And then his grave site is, I believe, in Turkey Creek Canyon. I think that's where his grave site is. So it's definitely like John said. I definitely want to know who you guys would pick, whether it be Ringo or Doc Holliday. Sorry, I had to get some water in me myself. I don't know. I've always been a fan of Doc, but I don't know. Ringo kind of gives off that. I don't know, he gives off a couple different vibes. Like you get that bad boy vibe, but at the same time you get the I'm gonna snap out and fucking shoot everybody in the house, massacre kind of vibe, and he's weird like that. So yeah, we're definitely interested in hearing who you guys would pick, who you guys would think would win the shootout, if there really was one, like the high noon in the streets. Definitely leave that in the comments. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for the Wild West Legends this week. I'm gonna take a couple minutes here and tell you guys what we got coming up. Obviously, next week is going to be John's true crime segment. And then followed by my gang segment, which we're doing the Cornbread Mafia on my segment. And then, like I said, we have the YouTube up. We're definitely posting the videos on that. Definitely using pictures as well until I get a little bit more affiliated with the editing software that I'm using. The way I can add in other stuff and stuff like that. And then we have the YouTube, the Instagram, the Patreon as well. And we actually got to get on a Patreon episode here. So maybe John, maybe that's what John can go ramble on and talk about for Doc Holliday on the Patreon. That'll be our first Patreon episode. No, we can't do that. We told you guys our first Patreon episode is going to be my love life. So that'll be a 6-hour long episode. Actually, no, it won't. But yeah, we got that stuff. John's supposed to be working on a Twitter account as well as a Facebook account. Whether or not that's happening, we'll discuss that later. I might have to make a trip out to Michigan and smack around Mr. Clean a little bit. We'll see. Yes, I mean that's what we got. Like I said, we have different trying some different promoting here. See how we can do on that. Sharing it to our personal pages and stuff like that. Want to get into some Reddit stuff. Maybe post in there. See if we can get off that. I don't know. Maybe is this episode 23? Maybe episode 30. We'll do like another live one. I think the last live one we did was episode 10. Maybe we'll do another live one for everybody. But yeah, I mean, we got big plans. Like John and I keep saying, we love doing this stuff. We're going to keep doing it. Even if no one listens to it, we're still going to do the same stuff. We enjoy doing it. We appreciate you guys that do listen every week and tune into us. Thank you. Much love for that. Yeah. But yeah. Hope everybody's been enjoying the different ways we've been going with stuff. Obviously, if you have something that you super enjoy, let us know. We'll definitely incorporate it in the stuff. Just don't want it to get like repetitive, I guess, when it comes to certain stuff. Because like like you have that podcast that it's the same type of stuff over and 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 over again. We try to switch it up for you guys. So that's what we're trying to do. But with that, this week was a bit of a short of an episode, so we appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in. John, you got any parting words?
Sir yaps a lot over there.
Yeah, I know. Sir Yappies.
Roscoe's back up here. So, I agree with most of what Steve said. Did you tell him about the name change that we're thinking about?
I did not. I was going to let you do that.
Well, we'll take in the comments, because we have a poll for Ringo or Holliday. We'll, in the comments, leave what you think would be, because we're looking at doing some different stuff. Still the same episodes and stuff, but maybe just a different name.
Pretty much where we're at, where John and I came up to the thought here. The original goal, I wouldn't even say goal, the original pretense of the podcast is we don't really follow it. Like we started to, and then we just kind of went off, and like now we're talking about stuff that's interests us. So it's one of those things where we're thinking on changing the name, because obviously if we're telling stories like this, telling history stuff, No Safe Space really isn't the right name. So we're definitely.
It would have been in the beginning, but like Steve said, we were doing some different stuff. It's not just us telling you about like crazy stuff we got going on anymore. Now we're each month we're
trying to get a different like drive. We have a different drive.
We're just trying to find the right niche.
Yeah, that
moves us in the right direction. Because in the beginning, this was growing pretty well, and then it just kind of slowed.
We hit a plateau. We plateaued out. I'm trying to build mountains with no downside. Okay, we're trying to build the fucking Rockies in this bitch.
That we are.
But either way, so obviously let us know on the time frames. If you guys want more detailed stuff, we can definitely extend it out a little bit longer. Let us know. Communicate with us. You are our listeners, our loyal listeners. We listen to you. You listen to us. Help us. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you're thinking. Drop a comment. Shoot an email. If you know either of us in real life, reach out to us. Holler at your boys.
Send messages on the social platforms.
Yeah.
The Twitter stuff is going well. It's still got to be approved. I'm just waiting for. I guess so many people are trying to make Twitter accounts. It just doesn't happen like it used to, where it's like immediately. It's been in queue or review for like a day and a half.
Holy hell!
It took me 2, maybe 3 weeks to get on the True Social when that came out.
Damn.
So
True Social.
True Social was like the Trump platform when
Uh,
they gave him the boot. But yeah, so follow us on the socials, interact with us. We do comment back and talk back with you guys.
yeah.
You know,
We're not those podcasters that are just listen to us and fuck yourself. That's not us. Like we take what you tell us into consideration.
unless you act a fool and say something disrespectful, then we might tell you fuck yourself.
I mean, you can tell me to fuck myself. I'm going to tell you I'll try, but
On next
it's not
week's
gonna
episode, we're going back. It's just a regular bantering episode, and we have some good stuff to tell you about. I have some funny shit that I found.
see, John always has the funny shit. I always have the fucking depressing ass bullshit. That's what I get for living in PA. That's what I get. No, I'm just kidding. I got some, dude, yeah, fucking Luca's YouTube's blowing up, dude.
Is it?
Yeah. We got 4 subscribers on our YouTube. This kid's got 16 or 17. Like his one video's got 25 views already. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm proud of shit of him. I am like, dude, fucking go, buddy, go. But his shit's blowing up. And I'm like, damn.
Well, congratulatories to little man.
Oh, dude, he asks me every day. Whenever he's with me, every day he gets up and he's like, Dad, how many subscribers do I got? I'm like, 15, buddy. Okay. The next day, Dad, how many subscribers do I got? And a little shit gets one a day. And I'm like, you got 16, buddy. And he's like, yes. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
awesome that he gets so pumped up about that.
Oh my God. And like, when you watch his videos and like he gets into the mode where he knows he's talking for the video for his subscribers. So like he interacts with them and I'm just like, you making daddy proud, buddy. You're a natural.
That's awesome.
But all right, everybody, we're gonna cut it here. I hope you guys enjoyed these. Like we said, make sure you give us some feedback on them. Definitely like, share, subscribe, rate us, give us that 5-star review, whatever. Help us out. Help us get out in those algorithms. We'd appreciate it. With anything else, y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
See you next week, guys.